Good morning students. I welcome you all to this mathematics class, and today we are discussing chapter 5 continuity of class 12 mathematics. We have already studied the concept of continuity and we have studied the continuity of standard functions and two questions of exercise 5.1. So let us begin with the rest of the questions of exercise 5.1. Question number 2 says examine the continuity of the function 2x square minus 1 at the point x equal to 3. Now as we know, as per the definition of continuity, if you are checking the continuity at the point 3, then limit as x tends to 3 of the function fx should be equal to the value of the function at the point 3. So let us calculate the limit as x tends to 3 of fx. This is the condition that we require. We have to check this. If this equality is achieved, then we say that the given function is continuous at the point 3. So limit x tends to 3 fx means limit x tends to 3 and fx is 2x square minus 1. So in this limit there is no need for us to take LHL and RHL separately because there is only one definition of the function in left and right of 3. So we simply substitute x to be 3. It gives us 2 3 square minus 1. It is 2 into 9 minus 1, which comes out to be 17. Now let us find out the value of the function at the point 3, that is f3. Now as we know that fx is 2x square minus 1 and therefore f3 will be, we replace x by 3, that is 2 into 3 square minus 1, which again comes out to be 17. So we notice that limit as x tends to 3 of fx is same as the value of the function at the point 3. So this implies the given function fx is continuous at the point x equal to 3. Now next question is question number 3, and you have to examine the continuity of the following functions. Now we are discussing part A. In part A, function is fx minus 5, which is a polynomial function. And in my last video, I discussed that all polynomial functions are continuous. So you can simply write all polynomial functions are continuous, and hence this particular one is also continuous. Now we can see these are actually oral questions. In part B, you can see the numerator is the constant function 1. Numerator is 1. You can say px is 1 and qx is x minus 5, and the given function fx is px upon qx. Now px being the constant function is continuous. I have already discussed the continuity of the standard functions, and qx being the polynomial function is continuous. This is the constant function and every constant function is continuous. This is the polynomial function and every polynomial function is continuous. Fx is the quotient of the constant function versus polynomial functions, and we have also studied that quotient of two continuous functions is continuous, and hence because the numerator is a continuous function, denominator is a continuous function, therefore fx is also a continuous function. Now move to part C. Now in this part you can see that numerator is also a polynomial function and denominator is also a polynomial function. What do we call such functions as? Such functions are called rational functions. So this fx in part C, this is a rational function. So it is going to be continuous at all points of its domain. X cannot be equal to minus 5 because at x equal to minus 5 this function is not defined, and hence the point minus 5 is not in its domain, and therefore fx being the rational function is continuous at all points of its domain. Now look at part D. This is the modulus function. We have already discussed in my previous video that every modulus function is continuous, and hence this particular one is also. So students, these are very short questions, and you can use the continuity of standard functions to discuss the continuity of these functions. Now let us move to question number 7, and question 7 says that you have to discuss the continuity of the given function. Now you are that fx is equal to x less than or equal to minus x mod x plus 3 if x is less than or equal to minus 3. So you can see that this is x-axis and this is point minus 3, x less than or equal to minus 3 in this area including this point, and hence the definition of fx for this particular x is going to be mod of x plus 3. Then the question says when x is between minus 3 to 3. This is the portion where x is between minus 3 to 3 and excluding the points minus 3 and 3. Here the value of fx is minus 2x, and for x greater than or equal to 3 the value of fx comes out to be 6x plus 2. And the question says find any points of discontinuity. Now let us first see that for all the x less than minus 3, that is for all these points, as you can see, for all these points the function fx is mod x plus 3. Modulus function is continuous and constant function is also continuous. Modulus function is continuous, constant is continuous, sum of the two is continuous. Therefore, for all the points less than minus 3, the function is continuous. Similarly, for the points which are between minus 3 and 3, these points which are between minus 3 and 3, for these points the function is minus 2x, which is a polynomial function. So function is continuous for these points also. And all the points for x for which x is greater than 3. I am not talking about greater than or equal to 3. I am talking about greater than 3. For them the function is 6x plus 2, which is a polynomial function, and hence also it is continuous. So I have seen that in this area the function is continuous, in this region the function is continuous, in this region the function is continuous. Where it can be discontinuous? It can be discontinuous at this point or at this point, which are the conjunction points. So we have to check the continuity of this function at 2 points. One is x equal to minus 3 and the other is x equal to 3. These are the 2 points of discontinuity can be there. These two can be. One of them or both of them can be the point of discontinuity. So I am going to check for both. So for x to be minus 3, let me assume a is minus 3. The point at which we check the continuity, we assume it to be a. Now we find out the left hand limit, which is equal to limit h tends to 0 f a minus h, which comes out to be limit h tends to 0. Now to find out f a minus h, I replace a by minus 3, so I get f of minus 3 minus h. Now let me show you how do I get the value of f minus 3 minus h. So this is my rough work. Since now first I have to decide what is fx for left of minus 3. You can see this is the point minus 3 and this area, this is the left of minus 3, and here the function is mod x plus 3. So fx is mod x plus 3. And what will be f of minus 3 minus h? So we replace x by minus 3 minus h. And hence I can write here that limit h tends to 0 modulus of minus 3 minus h plus 3. Now in place of h I can write 0, so I get modulus of minus 3 plus 3, which comes out to be 6. So I have seen that the value of the left hand limit at the point, when we calculate the limit at the point a equal to minus 3, the value of left hand limit is 6. Now we find out the right hand limit. For the right hand limit, the formula is limit h tends to 0 f a plus h, which is equal to limit h tends to 0 f of, in place of a we write minus 3, so minus 3 plus h. So now again I have to calculate the value of f minus 3 plus h. So now you look students, what is the point? Now you can see for which points uh, for the points x greater than minus 3, that is in the right hand side of minus 3, what is the value of fx? So this is the point minus 3. On right hand side of minus 3, this is the region, and the value of fx is minus 2x. And what will be the value of f minus 3 plus h? That will be minus 2 and x replaced by minus 3 plus h. So we get limit h tends to 0 and f minus 3 plus h has got this value, that is minus 2 minus 3 plus h, which comes out to be, now we put the limit of h to be 0, so we get minus 2 into minus 3, which is 6. So we have seen that the value of left hand limit was 6 and value of right hand limit was 6, and this implies that limit of the function fx at the point minus 3, that is as x tends to minus 3, is coming out to be 6. Now we have to find out the value of the function at the point. We have to find the value of the function at the point minus 3. So for that, we move forwards. We have to find f of minus 3. So first I should write what should be the fx for f of minus 3. So now go through the question once again. You can see for x equal to minus 3, the value is mod x plus 3. As here x is strictly greater than minus 3. Equality sign is not there. But for x equal to minus 3, the function is mod x plus 3. So here, while finding the equality, I will take fx as mod x plus 3. So when fx is mod x plus 3, what will be f of minus 3? Replace this x by minus 3. That is mod of minus 3 plus 3, that is 6. So I have seen that the limit of the function fx at the point minus 3 was 6 and value of the function at the point minus 3 was also 6, and therefore limit as x tends to minus 3 fx is same as value of the function at minus 3, and this implies function is continuous at x equal to minus 3. So out of the two probable points of discontinuity, we had these two probable points of discontinuity, either this or this. At this, I got to know that the function is continuous. At this one, I got to know that the function is continuous. Now I have to check the continuity of the function at the point 3. Now students, when you check the continuity of the function at the point 3, you again go through this figure. You can see this is the point 3 on x-axis, and in left of 3 the function is minus 2x, in right of 3 the function is 6x plus 2. So when you calculate the left hand limit at 3, you will take fx as minus 2x, and when you calculate the right hand limit at plus 3, you will take fx as 6x plus 2. Now we have already checked that function is continuous at the point x equal to minus 3. Now let us move to the point x equal to plus 3. Now I have to check the continuity at this point. To check the continuity at this point x equal to plus 3, I have to find out the limit of the function at the point plus 3. So I have to find out limit extending to 3 of fx. But since the definition of the function is different in left of 3 and in right of 3, so I have to find the left hand limit, and in this case a is plus 3. So the formula for calculating the left hand limit is limit h tends to 0 f a minus h. A is 3, so this is 3 minus h. Now what is fx in left of plus 3? Fx is minus 2x in left hand side of plus 3, and therefore this left hand limit becomes limit h tends to 0. To get the value of f3 minus h, we use this value of fx and we replace this x by 3 minus h. So in place of f3 minus h, we write minus 2 3 minus h, which comes out to be, now what we shall do, we shall put h to be 0. So we get minus 2 into 3, that is equal to minus 6. So the left hand limit at the point a equal to 3 is minus 6. Now we find out the right hand limit at the point a equal to 3. The formula for right hand limit is limit h tends to 0 f3 plus h. Now what is fx in right of 3? In right of 3 you can see the fx is 6x plus 2. So if your fx is 6x plus 2 in right hand side of 3, that means for finding this value of f3 plus h, I will use this fx. How? I will replace x by, I can show you, replace x by 3 plus h. So we get 6, 3 plus h plus 2. So this is the value of f3 plus h, which comes out to be limit h tends to 0, 6 times 3 plus h plus 2. Now we substitute h to be 0, so we get 6 into 3 plus 0 is 3 plus 2, which comes out to be 20. But the value of left hand limit was minus 6 and the value of right hand limit comes out to be 20. So we observe that left hand limit is not equal to right hand limit at a point a equal to 3. Now since the limit does not exist, so there is no question of checking the equality. That means the function is not continuous at the point a equal to 3. This implies function is discontinuous at the point x equal to 3. So this is the only point on the whole real line x equal to 3 at which the function is discontinuous. At rest all the points the function is continuous. Now let us move to question number 9. Question number 9 says that fx is x upon mod x fx is x upon mod x if x is less than 0. Now let us see, this is x-axis, positive x-axis, negative x-axis, and this is y-axis and point 0. X less than 0, this is the area, this is for this portion of x-axis, x less than 0, in this portion x more than 0, at 0 is included. X greater than or equal to 0 means 0 and more than 0. Fx is this for left hand side of 0, fx is this for right hand side of 0. So the only point of discontinuity, if there can be any, can be 0. So I have to check the continuity of this function for the point 0, because for all the points which are less than 0, function being the quotient of two continuous functions is continuous, because numerator x is a polynomial function and hence continuous. Denominator modulus x is a modulus function and hence continuous. And we know that quotient of two continuous functions is continuous. Therefore, for all x less than 0, function is continuous. Similarly, let us check for all x more than 0. I am not talking about on the 0. I am talking about more than 0. Function equal to minus 1 being a polynomial, being a constant function, it is going to be continuous. So in left of 0, function continuous, in right of 0, function is continuous. The only point that is to be checked is 0. So let us check the continuity of the function at 0. A is equal to 0, so we have to check the continuity of 0. So we have to find the limit of the function at 0 and value of the function at 0. Left hand limit is limit h tends to 0, f0 minus h. For left of 0, the function is going to be x upon mod x. So limit h tends to 0. I can show you here in rough. For left hand limit, fx is x upon mod x. You can see 0 and this is left of 0. This is left of 0. So function is x upon mod x. And therefore, if you have to find the value of f0 minus h, so you replace x by 0 minus h. 0 minus h upon modulus of 0 minus h. Therefore, I write here in place of f0 minus h its value, which is 0 minus h upon modulus of 0 minus h. That comes out to be limit h tends to 0 minus h upon modulus of minus h, which comes out to be limit h tends to 0 minus h upon h, which is limit h tends to 0 minus 1. You can cancel minus h and h, and limit of any constant is constant. So the value of left hand limit comes out to be minus 1. Now similarly we try to calculate the right hand limit, and for right hand limit the formula is limit h tends to 0 f0 plus h. So now we have to calculate the value of f0 plus h. Now for right of 0, fx is given to be minus 1, and therefore f of whatever you substitute h to be, it always is going to be minus 1, and therefore so substitute the value of f0 plus h, which comes out to be limit h tends to 0, and the value of f0 plus h, right now we have calculated it to be minus 1. Limit of any constant number remains constant only. So I can see that the value of right hand limit is also minus 1, and the value of left hand limit is also minus 1. When both the limits exist and they are equal, this implies that the limit of the function fx as x tends to minus 1 is coming out to be minus 1. That means the value of the limit of the function is minus 1. When the limit of the function exists, when left hand limit also and right hand limits also exist, and they have the common value. So the common value is minus 1. Now we have to find the value of the function at 0. So now let us see here in this figure. When x is greater than or equal to 0, fx is minus 1. So it is given to you that f0 is also minus 1. From here I have got it. It says that when x is equal to 0, fx is minus 1. This implies f of 0 is minus 1. So we can see that f0 is also minus 1. And since both of them are equal, this implies function is continuous at the point x equal to minus 1. And so therefore there is no point of discontinuity. In the question they have asked you if there is any point of discontinuity in the given functions. So you had already checked for lesser points, for the points less than 0 all continuous, for the points more than 0 function continuous, and at 0 you checked that the limit is equal to the value, and hence no discontinuity in this function. Now question number 17 says that find the relationship between a and b so that the function f defined by ax plus 1 if x is less than or equal to 3, bx plus 3 if x is more than 3 is continuous at x equal to 3. So here the function is given to be continuous at the point 3, and you have to find the values of a and b. So according to the question, since the function is continuous at x equal to 3, this is given to you. So limit of the function fx as x tends to 3 is equal to the value of the function at the point 3. This is equation 1, and this is given in this case. You don't have to prove it. Now limit at the point x equal to 3 means the left hand limit, that is limit x tends to 3 from the negative side, and the right hand limit, that is limit x tends to 3 from positive side, and the value of the function, they all have to be equal. So now this is the given equation. We have rewritten the given equation by including the left hand limit and right hand limit both. So this is nothing but left hand limit of the function at 3. This is nothing but right hand limit of the function at 3, and this is the value of the function at 3. Now in this case, all the three quantities, these are given to be equal. So what is our strategy? We are going to find LHL, RHL, F3, and we are going to equate all the three quantities, and that equation will give us the required relationship between the points A and B. So now left hand limit, for left hand limit Now you can see for left hand limit the formula is limit h tends to 0 f a minus h, and the point a is 3 because we are going to calculate the limit at 3. So this becomes limit h tends to 0 f 3 minus h. So here we are given that function is continuous at 3. So LHL, RHL all will be calculated for 3. Now in left hand side of 3 the function is ax plus 1. Therefore if you have to find the value of f3 minus h, in this expression you substitute x to be 3 minus h. So you get a, x is substituted by 3 minus h plus 1, which comes out to be limit of h tends to 0. Now you can, before writing this step, what you can do is you can put the limit of h. So we substitute back the limit of h. So h becomes 0. This is a, 3 minus 0 plus 1. So we get 3a plus 1, and this is the value of left hand limit. Now we find out the right hand limit. For right hand limit, limit h tends to 0 f of a plus h, which is equal to limit h tends to 0 f of 3 plus h, which is equal to, now look, for right hand limit, for x more than 3, the function is bx plus 3. See here, the function is bx plus 3. You can see here in this given definition. So in place of fx, we have to write bx plus 3, and x will be replaced by 3 plus h. That gives you limit h tends to 0, b, x replaced by 3 plus h plus 3. Substitute h to be 0, so you get 3b plus 3. So the value of right hand limit comes out to be 3b plus 3. Now we have to find the value of the function at the point 3. So for that we again look at the definition. The definition says that for x equal to 3, function is ax plus 1. So fx is ax plus 1 for x to be equal to 3. So f3 will be, substitute x to be 3, and you get a into 3 plus 1, that is 3a plus 1. So now I have got the value of LHL, RHL as well as the value of the function at the point 3. I can show you, this is the value of LHL, this is the value of RHL, and this is the value of the function at the point 3. And where do we have to substitute all these values? We have to substitute all these values in this equation. And what is this equation? This equation is, equation 2 is that left hand limit should be equal to right hand limit should be equal to value of the function at the point 3. The value of left hand limit right hand now, right now you have got it to be 3a plus 1. So we write 3a plus 1 in place of left hand limit. Right hand limit is 3b plus 3, and value of the function at the point 3 is also 3a plus 1. So there is no need for us to write 3a plus 1 two times. We can take this equation and we equate it. So we get 3b minus 3a is equal to 1 minus 3, that is minus 2, or we can take 3 common and minus 3 common. So we get a minus b is equal to minus 2, and now it becomes a minus b is equal to 2. So this is the required relationship between the points a and b so that the given function is continuous. So this is the required relationship for between a and b. Now students, we are going to do question number 18 now. And question 18 says that find the value of lambda so that this function is continuous at x equal to 0. So it is given to you that function is continuous at 0. This implies that left hand limit at 0 is equal to right hand limit is at 0 and is equal to value of the function at the point 0. Now we calculate the left hand limit at 0 and right hand limit at 0. So we can see that for left hand limit at 0 the function is this, and for right hand limit at 0 the function is this. So therefore now the point A is 0. Left hand limit will be limit h tends to 0 f of 0 minus h. Now this is the function for left hand limit. So to get the value of f0 minus h, in this expression we substitute x to be 0 minus h. So we get limit h tends to 0 lambda into 0 minus h whole square minus 2 times of 0 minus h, which comes out to be limit h tends to 0. And now let us simplify the expression. This is h square, 0 minus h means minus h square is h square minus 2 into minus h, that is plus 2h. Now we substitute h to be 0, so this becomes lambda into 0 and that comes out to be 0. So the left hand limit of the function comes out to be 0, and now we find the right hand limit also of the function. So let us see what do we get. Right hand limit of the function will be limit h tends to 0 f 0 plus h, which is equal to limit h tends to 0. Now how should I write the value of f0 plus h? Now you can again see here in the definition of the function, for x more than 0, that is in the right hand side of 0, function is 4x plus 1. To get the value of f0 plus h, we replace x by 0 plus h in 4x plus 1. So we get 4 x replaced by 0 plus h plus 1. Now we substitute h to be 0, so we get limit h tends to 0 4 into 0 plus 1, which comes out to be 1. So we observe that the left hand limit at the point 0 was 0 and right hand limit at the point 0 was 1. That means that the limit at the point 0 does not exist. That means limit x tends to 0 of fx does not exist. If this limit does not exist, then how can it be equal to the value of the function at 0? So that means no such value of lambda exists. No such value of lambda exists, so that the function becomes continuous at x equal to 0. Now the second part of the question says, they are asking you, second part of the question says, what about the continuity of the function at x equal to 1? Look at this. What about the continuity of function at x equal to 1? Now look students, for this is the figure that when x is less than 0 or less than or equal to 0, function is lambda x square minus 2x. When x is more than 0, function is 4x plus 1. But 1.1 will be somewhere here. So in the extreme left of 1 and in the extreme right of 1, the function is not changing. It remains 4x plus 1 throughout the positive side of x-axis, and therefore if you have to calculate the limit of the function at the point 1, because we are checking the continuity of the function at the point 1, there is no need for us to take the left hand limit or right hand limit. We simply take 4x plus 1 because this is the function in left of 1 and in right of 1. And we substitute x to be 1, so we get 4 plus 1, 5. And if we find the value of the function at the point 1, that also comes out to be 4 into 1 plus 5, and both of 4 into 1 plus 1, that comes out to be 5. So we notice that value of the function is same as limit of the function at the point 1. So function is continuous at 1, and you have to check for there is no question of existence of value of lambda, because you can check only the continuity at 1. The concept of lambda is over with continuity at 0. Function was not continuous at 0 because lambda does not exist for the function which is defined for x more than 0, and hence the function is continuous at 1. Now students, we move back to the next question, question number 19. It says, show that the function which is gx equal to x minus greatest integer function of x. You have to show that this function is discontinuous at all integral points, and this denotes the greatest integer less than or equal to x, or this is the greatest integer function. Now the given function is x minus greatest integer function of x. Since we have to prove this function to be discontinuous at all integral points, and we have three types of integers: negative integers, 0 and positive integers. So let us take them one by one. Case 1, let a be any negative integer. So let us try to check whether the function is continuous or not at the point a. So here we have to find out the left hand limit of the function at the point a, which is limit h tends to 0 f of a minus h. So here we don't have f, we have g. So I can write f of g minus h. Now I already know this is the expression for gx. So in place of x, I will write a minus h. So I get limit h tends to 0. I replace this x and this x by a minus h. So a minus h minus greatest integer function of a minus h. Now let us try to find out what will be the value of greatest integer function of a minus h. Now what I have to find out? I have to find out what is greatest integer function of a minus h. So look at this figure. This is the real line. This is any negative integer a. Before that will be some the consecutive, the predecessor of a, that will be a minus 1, and after this we will have the successor of a, that will be a plus 1. Now we all know that h is a very very small number, infinitesimally small number. That means that if you subtract h from the point a, then you come in the interval from minus a minus 1 to a. H is very 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 less than 1, 2 less than 1. So a minus h will be a number between the integer a minus 1 to a. So greatest integer, that means a minus h is not an integer, it is some decimal between a and a minus 1. So greatest integer function of a minus h will be the just the previous integer to it, which is nothing but a minus 1. So we get limit h tends to 0 a minus h minus, and we have right now got that the value of the greatest integer function of a minus h will be a minus 1. Now we can see both a's, they get cancelled. So we will have limit h tends to 0, and in bracket we have minus h plus 1. H becomes 0 after substituting the limit, so we have got 1. So we have got the value of the left hand limit comes out to be plus 1. So now students, we move to the right hand limit at the point A. So right hand limit will be limit h tends to 0 g of a plus h, which is equal to limit h tends to 0. Now you know the definition of gx is this. For right hand limit, I will substitute in place of x a plus h. So the expression becomes a plus h minus greatest integer function of a plus h. Now let us see what is the greatest integer function of a plus h. Now you can see here in this figure, students, a plus h is a non-integral number which lies between a and a plus 1. A is the integer, so a plus 1 is also an integer. A plus h is a non-integral number between them, so its greatest integer function will be the integer just before it, which is a. So its value is coming out to be a. So we get limit h tends to 0, a plus h minus a. A and a, they get cancelled, so we have got the result limit h tends to 0 of h, which is 0. So now you can see, students, that the value of the left hand limit at this point is not equal to the value of the right hand limit at that point. The value of right hand limit was 0 and left hand limit was 1. So this implies that the given function gx is not continuous for negative integers. Now we shall prove that this is not continuous for positive integers and then for zeros. Now let us move to case 2. In second case, we have assumed a to be a positive integer and the function gx is x minus greatest integer function of x. And now we have to check the continuity of the function at the positive integer a. So you can see its position, the position of a. A is any integer lying on the positive side of x-axis. A minus 1 is its predecessor, it is also an integer. A plus 1 is its successor, which is also an integer. H is a very small number, too small to be an integer, to be equal to 1, or it is very small integer, but a positive number. Sorry, it's not an integer, it's a very small positive number. So now when you take any number a minus h, it will be any non-integral number lying between a minus 1 and a. A plus h will be a non-integral number, a rational number lying between a and a plus 1. So if we have to find out the left hand limit, that is limit h tends to 0 of g a minus h, that will be equal to limit h tends to 0. So that means in the expression of g, in place of x, I will write a minus h. So I will have a minus h minus greatest integer function of a minus h. Now you can see here, since a minus h lies between a minus 1 and 1, its greatest integer function is going to be a minus 1. So we can write limit h tends to 0, a minus h minus a minus 1, a gets cancelled and h becomes 0 and we get the result to be 1. Similarly, if we want to find out the right hand limit, that will be limit h tends to 0, g of a plus h, which is equal to limit h tends to 0. Now expression for gx is this, we replace x by a plus h. So we will have a plus h minus greatest integer function of a plus h. Now we know that the greatest integer function of a plus h will be equal to a. So the value that comes out to be limit h tends to 0, a plus h minus a gets cancelled, h becomes 0, so its value is 0. So now I can see that the value of left hand limit is 1 and the value of right hand limit is 0, and hence I can observe that left hand limit is not equal to right hand limit, and hence the function gx is not continuous at any positive integer also. So we have seen that gx is neither continuous at positive integer and nor at the negative integer. Now let us take the third case, that is A is 0. It is the integer and it is 0. We have already checked for negative integers, positive integers, and then now we are checking the continuity of the function gx for the point 0. So we find out the left hand limit at the point 0, that will be limit h tends to 0 f a minus h. But a here is 0, so we write limit h tends to 0 of 0 minus h. We substitute here in the expression of gx x to be 0 minus h. So we get limit h tends to 0, 0 minus h minus greatest integer function of 0 minus h. Now you can see this is the real line x-axis, point 0, this is point minus 1 and this is plus 1. So 0 minus h is a non-integral number between minus 1 and 0. So therefore the greatest integer function of 0 minus h will be minus 1. So I can replace 0 minus h by minus 1. So we get limit h tends to 0, 0 minus h minus of minus 1, which comes out to be limit h tends to 0 minus h plus 1. Now we put h to be 0, so we get the result to be 1. And now we find out the right hand limit, which is equal to limit h tends to 0 of f of a plus h, which is limit h tends to 0 of f of 0 plus h. And now we substitute in the expression of gx the value of x to be 0 plus h, which is limit h tends to 0, 0 plus h minus greatest integer function of 0 plus h. Now students, you can see here in this figure, 0 plus h is a non-integral number between 0 and 1. So the greatest integer function of 0 plus h will come out to be 0. So we replace it by 0. So we get limit h tends to 0, 0 plus h minus 0, and if you put the limit of h to be 0, you get the result to be 0. So now here again you can see that the left hand limit is 1 and right hand limit is 0, and the left hand limit is not equal to right hand limit. And so we can say that the function gx is discontinuous at the point 0 also, and therefore it is discontinuous at all integral points. Now with this, students, I end up this video here, and I will meet you in the next class, and we shall be doing the rest of the questions in the next class. Till then, keep revising, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe this channel.